Let's run down the top uncommitted recruits in the country. I got On3 national analyst Steve Wiltfong here with me. And in this video, I want to get Steve's expert opinion on where some of these top prospects could end up. Steve, let's start at the top. Number one offensive tackle in America, David Sanders. There's been a ton of buzz around him. He has his decision date set for August 17. What are you hearing?
Well, he could end up at 3 schools, Tennessee, Ohio State, Nebraska. I know a lot of the buzz has been around the Vols. He's been at every major recruiting weekend at Tennessee this calendar year. He's been there 5 times. He's been to games there in the past. Tennessee's poured a lot into the recruitment of David Sanders, but he's been to Ohio State several times this year, continues to have regular dialogue with the Buckeyes, made a return visit to Nebraska here at the end of the summer so he could get around the players more. They weren't there on his official visit, Mother's Day weekend, where they got to spend some time with the staff. I think all 3 of these programs are doing what they have to do to check as many boxes as they possibly can that the Sanders family is looking for as David goes to make this college decision. And I think we're now in the home stretch. He's going to commit on the 17th, next Saturday. But to my knowledge, no final decision has been made. No school has been alerted. They're still having dialogue with all 3 of them. And these programs are going to get a chance to make a final pitch. So, look, he made these visits to Nebraska where he got, one Nebraska staffer said, I've never seen a reception like this. And these guys have worked at a lot of places. Right. So it's not like I haven't seen something like this at Nebraska. He hasn't seen anything like it anywhere. When David Sanders arrived in Lincoln with Dylan Raiola bringing him in and the fan.
It was incredible.
It was awesome. So, look, so you're feeling that, right? Then it wasn't easy to get to Knoxville that weekend. I don't know if it was because of the cyber, whatever, but it was not smooth travels. But he could have just went home, back to Charlotte, but nope.
There's something he
got to
needed
get
to see.
to Tennessee. So
we got to beat George McIntyre. He wasn't going to stand up George.
Well, they're buds, yeah. So he gets to Tennessee, has a good time there again, as always. So you got those visit highs. Those have worn off again. Back to decision-making. Back to, like, what are the important things we're making our decision on? These schools are all going to get opportunity to continue to make their final pitches of why we check more boxes than the other programs for you. So come here. And I think that, they're all alive.
Okay, but before you had a week off. You're back from vacation. So prior to August 1, before you went on vacation, you were giving the edge to Ohio State. At this point, would you still give the edge to Ohio State? Are they even?
No,
How do you see it?
So I think when I'm talking to all my sources and adding up the intel, my best guess today would be Tennessee. But I've also at times had my best guess on Ohio State. Yeah. And then even early in the process, you looked at Georgia.
Clemson.
And I never had Clemson in the one hole.
Okay. A lot of people did. A lot of people said this is going to be the team that's going to be here till the end. They didn't even make his top 4.
Correct. So, I think, I'm not, who knows? We'll see. Maybe we're sleeping on Georgia, but
doesn't feel like it.
But my best guess today would be Tennessee. But again, they're working through it, man, and it's genuine interest in these programs. They have a lot to offer, and so we'll see what happens.
All right. Elijah Griffin, he's next up on the list. He's the number 1 defensive lineman in America. We've been hearing that he's trending to Georgia for so long, but when could Elijah Griffin make a final decision?
Well, I think he's going to go to Georgia, so we'll see what happens.
Is it going to be before summer ends?
It's Georgia's to lose. I don't think so on that. I think he's going to take his process into the season, but I still like where Georgia stands.
All right. Now, one prospect we know is going to take his process into the season is defensive lineman Justice Terry. He told Chad Simmons that just a few days ago. December 4th is going to be the date. Are the Dogs the team to beat heading into the fall?
Absolutely. They were the team to beat the day he committed to USC on his visit in the spring. We've seen that. We've seen that before with Michael Williams and look, I mean, USC, they came in and battled, and they're trying to restore glory, and they're recruiting the right guys. But Elijah Griffin, Justice Terry, players like that are the reason why Georgia, year in and year out, is competing for national championships. Kirby Smart loves his big people at the point of attack on both sides of the ball, and he loves his defensive backs. And Georgia's track record of top targets on the O-line, the D-line, and in the secondary is as good as it gets since the Kirby Smart era has started in Athens. So I think they'll land Elijah Griffin and Justice Terry, and those are guys that will continue the tradition of dominant play at the point of attack for the Bulldogs.
And that's why we have Georgia in the hunt for the #1 class in America, because they're sitting at number 4, but they're the favorite for both of these 5-stars who might not be coming off the board for another 3 or 4 months. So Georgia fans, you just got to be patient.
Georgia's a program that they're going to go out. They're probably going to have a great year, and they'll flip someone like a KJ Bolden too late. I mean,
they have that ability.
There's no question. There's a guy out there that's in the top 100 right now that's committed elsewhere that Georgia's going to like their senior film, and they're going to go all in, and they're going to spatula them up.
All right. Jonah Williams, the #1 safety in America, he told us in Nashville at the On3 Elite Series that this is a baseball and a football decision. So who's winning this baseball-football battle right now?
Well, I think that Texas and LSU are the programs that I think are in the best shape right now. So my On3 RPM's on Texas A&M because I just don't know what to do with it. You know, and at On3 we can't just delete those picks.
Right,
so,
you got to put it somewhere if you're moving.
Right. So if he committed tomorrow, I'd be wrong on the stat sheet. But, you know, I like where Texas stands. They got the last visit. I think LSU's enticing. I think Texas A&M, they need to rally from where they stand right now. And they could, again. And then Oregon's kind of been they've been a mainstay in that one. There was some hotness around their name in Jonah Williams in the summer. I'm not feeling that right now. Doesn't mean that, again, they couldn't surge either. Texas and LSU are the programs I think are in the best shape for Jonah Williams right now.
All right. Then we got Michael Fasusi.
Absolute war.
It is a battle. And who are the main players?
Just I'm looking at 3 schools, Texas, Texas A&M, and Oklahoma. I think all 3 programs are pouring a lot into recruiting Michael Fasusi, talking to him a lot, showing him why their program is the best fit for him to develop as an NFL player. And I think he's continuing to have regular dialogue with these programs. And you know, you talk to people around Austin, they feel good about it, but the same could be said in Norman and College Station as well. So I'm fascinated. I'm excited to see what Michael Fasusi does because he is one of the most coveted players in the country, regardless of position.
Yeah.
After quarterback, I would say if schools could draft some players, he would go in the top 5. He's not ranked in the top 5, but he would go in college programs top 5.
Yeah, I believe you. All right, another battle that is brewing, a different battle, but a battle in its own right, is for offensive tackle Andrew Babalola. You got Stanford, you got Michigan, and you have Auburn. Are those the main players here?
Well, you got Oklahoma's
in it as well,
and they're like, hey, Walter Roush transferred from Stanford to Oklahoma. Why don't you talk to him about
making a late pitch here?
Right. So in Missouri, they're still battling for Andrew Babalola. We don't sleep on Missouri in the new age of recruiting.
Are highly valued at this point.
And look, Mizzou went down in the Lone Star State and got Lamont Rogers, who could have went anywhere in the country he wanted as well. So Mizzou, we're not sleeping on them for anybody. I think every time we talk about Andrew Babalola, and we've been talking about him a bit, I've been here since April 1, and we're talking about him more now. Michigan seems to get a little bit more. We get a little more juiced up about Michigan each episode.
It feels that way, yeah.
So I think Michigan and Stanford are the 2 that I think he ends up at one of those 2. But anytime you talk to a source around the Plains or around Norman or around Mizzou, they're like, hey, we're still in here. We're still battling, and so he's still talking. The thing that's changed, Josh, is it used to be when you talk to a source, it would be that school and Stanford.
Right.
Now some people are saying it's that school in Michigan. So he's trying to commit before August 12th. That's when he starts school. He hasn't committed yet, and he's not someone that – look, if he knew where he was going, he would just commit. I mean, this is the guy –
So he's going through it right now.
He's the guy that when you look at the 5 stars, he was probably the last one to talk NIL. Like he's an old school recruitment that's just trying to do the best he can to find his best fit on and off the field. And his mom's going on the visits, and his dad is just talking it over with his family. They're struggling to get it down to 1. He likes all these opportunities. My RPM's on Stanford, but I think he could very much go to Michigan, and maybe my RPM will be on Michigan soon. But then maybe that'll be wrong, and he goes to Auburn. And right now I'm not close to like predicting Auburn, Oklahoma, or Mizzou for him. But they're in there. He's still having dialogue with them. Michigan's the one that Michigan and Stanford are the 2.
All right, another prospect that you can tell is having a tough time figuring out which is the best fit is Michael Terry III. He took all his official visits and then needed 3 more visits the last weekend before he was ready to shut it down into the dead period. He hit Oregon, Nebraska, and Texas. Michael Terry III, how do you read this recruitment?
People love spending time with Michael Terry and his family. They're just
He's
great.
a good guy.
They are, man. The great people, very appreciative of everything that everybody does for them. You know, there's no entitlement with Michael Terry and his family. So when they come to the On3 Elite Series, they're thanking everybody for everything. And when they go on these official visits, same thing. So people love having Michael Terry and the family around. Texas, I mean, that's probably my best guess, but Oregon and Nebraska are right in the middle of that one, and he's trying to commit before senior season, so we'll see.
All right, the last 5-star prospect we're going to talk about in this segment is interior offensive lineman Josh Petty, who some are recruiting as an offensive tackle, some as a guard. He can play center. He can do it all. That's why he's a 5-star prospect, and this one had been trending for Florida State for some time, but now as we get he's deciding on August 12th, as we get closer and closer to his decision, it seems like FSU's fading.
Well, they got the last visit. His sister still goes to school in Tallahassee. Mom likes Florida State.
All that
he likes
sounds
Florida
good,
State. Coach
but
Atkins. Yeah, Ohio State is really making a late, hard push, showing him that he's as coveted as just about anybody on the board, and they'd love to have him in their balanced offense. And then Georgia Tech, man, they've had some big recruiting wins under Brent Key and company. That's a program that's got some excitement around them right now, good coaching staff. And there's some buzz around Georgia Tech for Josh Petty as well.
All right. Well, Steve, it's been great having you here on the set of the Inside Scoop. We got to do this again soon.
Absolutely. Let's do it in Indianapolis, though. Let's get you up into my home studio.
I don't know about a road game. I like playing here at home.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's good to be here. You guys hit like and subscribe so you get the scoop, you get the whip around, you get the 5-star flex, and everything in between.
Well, you've made it to the end of today's video, but there's hundreds more videos on the On3 Recruits channel for you to check out. And also, while you're here, hit subscribe.